when we build our 3D model in the computer, we use, like Luke said, Onshape, a CAD program. You can kind of of it as like sculpting without using clay or wood or foam or whatever else you might. So we have this 3D object in the computer. We can turn it around, see it, but it's usually gray and pretty boring. So we spend a little bit of time rendering it, which is kind of like putting it in a virtual photo studio. So we can do different lights and effects, different colors, materials, textures, and it really brings a product to life. A lot of times you can't even tell if it is a render or an actual photograph of the product. So it can really give the client a good understanding of what this thing might look like when we're done. Yeah. Sometimes though, if it's a type of product that you're going to be interacting with a lot, you're going to hold it in your hands, maybe it has handles and things like that. We'll sometimes go and make a low resolution model first, which is basically, maybe we'll carve it out of a block of wood or make it out of foam core. And it's really just to get an idea of sizing, scale, how exactly you're going to interact with it. And then once we do have the 3D model, we have the option to 3D print it. So we have several 3D printers here for all different types of applications. And it's at that point where the client can really get our design of their idea in hand and start moving it around, see what the interaction is going to be like.
Yeah, I'd say that once it's made in 3D and we do the renders, we do the prints, that's when it really kind of comes to life for the client. That's when they see that their vision, their baby they've been working on for a long time, they can see it in their hands, they, see the materials that it's going to be, and it comes to life, which is really exciting. And essentially once we have completed that section of it, then begins the hard work. Then begins actually manufacturing it. So the way that process begins is with what's called an NPI. That stands for New Product Introduction. Essentially what that is a packet that's an overview of your product. So that includes material specs, packaging callouts, quantities, 2D drawings, like an overview of the function. And the reason that we make a packet like that is so that way we can send that to a majority of our partners overseas and domestically. The last thing we want to do is kind of put all of our eggs in one basket and only be talking to one supplier. We want to get feedback, quotes, and all sorts of things from, a majority of different suppliers. And we can really kind of compare and make sure that we have the right partner that we're moving forward with. And usually what comes after that NPI from our suppliers is kind of going back to it is what's called a DFM. And that stands for Design for Manufacturing. And that is really a kind of, feedback from our suppliers or engineers on the most cost-effective way to make your product. So whether it is, maybe there's a couple items that we can do stock, maybe we should be making an item out of plastic instead of metal and molding it, things like that. That's really kind of, where our engineers step in and give us the advice on, the most cost-effective way to make it.